Hello friends, welcome back to my channel The Medico Stores. So today we are going to continue our topic for energy metabolism, and this is what we are going to do. We are going to differentiate between the well absorptive state and the post absorptive state. So let's get started. We are going to start with the well absorptive state. In the last video we have differentiated between the insulin and glucagon, how both hormones plays then role. So if you have not seen the video, you can check that video first and then come to this. Okay, so what is well absorptive? It is nothing but a word full of insulin, so we can write it as insulin world. So it starts when we eat our food. After eating our food, the molecule which increase in body is nothing but glucose. So there are high levels of glucose in our blood. Everywhere glucose is increased in our blood. So first, this high level of glucose is taken up by every cells. Like every body need their energy. So first, glucose is taken by liver also. So what will happen to the glucose? It will go under glycolysis and it will form pyruvate, and pyruvate will give us acetyl CoA, and this acetyl CoA will go in the TCA cycle, and after that you know the pathway, it is ETC, from where we will get our ATPs. And now what happened with the muscles too uses their glucose. It form pyruvate will give us acetyl CoA, and the same acetyl CoA will go to TCA cycle and then to ETC. So this cycle is going to take place in every cell. Like in adipose tissue, it will take glucose, then it will convert it to pyruvate, acetyl CoA, which will go to ETC, TCA first and then ETC, and then it will get ATP from the ETC. Same goes with the muscles. Our brain too take the glucose, convert it to pyruvate and then to the acetyl, and which will go to the ETC and we will get ATP. But the difference is in RBC. RBC takes glucose, is converted into pyruvate and then to lactate. This is known as the substrate level phosphorylation. We will see this concept more in glycolysis, and you should remember that the role of RBC is to carry oxygen, and also RBC lacks mitochondria. So that's why there is no conversion of pyruvate to acetyl CoA. So it forms lactate, and the lactate it goes to liver where it is recycled. Okay. Now once each and every organ has used glucose for their own use, and they have used glucose, they have formed ATP, they are happy with that, but there is still high level of glucose. So then what will they do? They will store that excess glucose for the post absorptive state. So we will see in liver has used it has got ATP, but still it is having high level of glucose. This glucose will be stored in the form of glycogen. Yes. Okay, the same thing will goes with the muscles. Muscles will too store the high level of glucose in the form of glycogen, but muscle is selfish. Like he stores this amount of glycogen for its own use. But liver is not selfish. He is storing this amount of glycogen to help other organs like brain, the RBC, who are continuously dependent only on glucose, to help such organs, to provide them with high level of glucose, high level of energy in their post absorptive state. High level of glucose will convert it to glycogen, but we should also know that there is also high level of acetyl CoA. So what will happen this with high level of acetyl-CoA. So this high level, it will be converted to fatty acid. Yes, to fatty acid. This fatty acid, it is not stored in the liver, because you should know that it will be harmful for the liver. So this fatty acid will be converted to fats, that is nothing but triacylglycerol, and then these fats will be going to adipose tissue with the help of B100, which is nothing but a lipoprotein which helps to transfer the fats from the liver to the adipose tissue. Once it goes to the adipose tissue, it will be stored as fats. And one more thing to know about adipose tissue, that adipose tissue, yes, it takes glucose, it forms pyruvate, it converts it into acetyl-CoA, it forms goes to TCA, it gets its ATP. But also important role of adipose tissue is to form glycerol from glucose. And this glycerol is nothing but it is its own fatty acid, its own fat, which it is storing. The fats which are coming from the liver, it is also stored in the form of fats. But it is important to remember this, that adipose tissue makes its own fatty acid, that is glycerol, and then it converts if some amount of glucose is left, then it converts that glucose and use it as ATP. Now some amount is formed as fatty acid, and now some amount of acetyl-CoA forms cholesterol. This cholesterol forms bile salt. Forms bile salt, and we know that this is stored in the gallbladder, and we know the function of bile. The function of bile is emulsification of fats. Okay. And also one more thing you should know is that our brain, it completely depends on glucose. It does not use any other molecule. It needs glucose, and the glucose, it cannot be transformed into fat, or it can't store anything, because you should know that the fatty acid which is carried by albumin, okay, so that fatty acid cannot penetrate our brain, because we have the blood-brain barrier. So the brain constantly needs glucose, and it is the first organ which can go in short time in hypoxia, that is low level of oxygen. So it cannot stay without oxygen, so it needs constant supply of oxygen. So we should remember this, the heart muscles, they completely use fatty acid, and yes, they do use ketones, but it will be in more starvation period. But mainly they use fatty acid for their energy, and they does not depend on liver to give some glucose or all. They does not depend. They need fatty acid and ketones. And then one more thing, you should remember this thing, that glycogen should be made in our body. What is the signal for that? So first you should know that it is insulin, and second one is energy level. Energy level means before making glycogen, our energy level should be high from burning sugar. Then only our body can get the signal and it can form glycogen. So the energy level, it should be high. Then only glycogen is formed. So I hope this is understandable. Like, it is normal insulin world. We get glucose. Glucose is taken up by liver, RBC, muscles, adipose tissue, brain, and it is used. Once glucose have been used as enough ATPs, we have enough ATPs, we have enough energy. There is still high level of glucose. So this high level of glucose is stored in the form of glycogen in liver and 2 in muscles. It is stored in the form of fats in adipose tissue. Adipose tissue form its own fatty acid, but it also get fats through the liver because liver can't store fatty acid. Also some acetyl-CoA is formed into cholesterol, bile salt. The bile is formed, which is stored in the gallbladder. And also you should remember the heart muscle. The heart muscle uses fatty acid and ketones for its energy. And the brain loves glucose. Okay, so this is post-absorptive state. Now what happens in post-absorptive state? It is a glucagon world. Okay, here we do not have glucose, we need glucose. So how does our body work in this? So first we have fats. The fats from the adipose tissue will be going to the blood, where it will be carried by albumin. This will be the second step. And then this fatty acid, we know that it is a form of energy molecule for many tissues. So this fatty acid, it will be taken up by the muscles, which will be used fatty acid for their own use. And then fatty acid, we have seen that fatty acid, our heart muscles depends on fatty acid. So it will be used up by heart muscles and even kidney too. Our kidney also needs fatty acid for their energy. Okay, now we have supplied enough the muscles, the heart muscles, the kidneys, adipose tissue. They have got enough energy from this fatty acid. Now who is suffering in this post-absorptive state? Yes, our brain and RBCs. As we know that fatty acid cannot cross the blood-brain barrier, it cannot go. So our brain cannot use fatty acid, and even the RBC, it cannot go because RBC does not has mitochondria. So where they will carry out the process of detoxification. Okay, so the most organ who are suffering in this post-absorptive state is our brain and an RBC. Now who will help them? Yes, our liver. Our liver is very helpful to everyone, and he is not selfish like the muscles. Okay, as we have seen that our liver has stored the glycogen in the well absorptive state, and even muscles also have stored glycogen, but muscles use this glycogen for their own self. They use this glycogen for their own self. So before the glycogen is degraded and formed into glucose, you should remember that before going through this, our energy level should be high by burning fats. Once the energy level is high by burning fats, then this will be the step, this will be the phase when glycogen will undergo glycogenolysis and it will form into glucose. Okay, and one more mechanism you should remember, that gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is also one process in the post-absorptive state. We have seen this in our first video. So how gluconeogenesis will occur? So the product needed for gluconeogenesis will be supplied by our muscles. Muscles has protein. So one of the protein is alanine. Alanine will be supplied to the liver to undergo gluconeogenesis, and also the lactate. We have seen that in RBC the glucose forms into pyruvate, and the pyruvate will form into lactate. So the lactate is given out to liver for recycle. So this lactate will be also used for gluconeogenesis. Okay, then this will be the 7th step. This will be the 8th step. It will go to the liver and it will undergo gluconeogenesis, and we have formed the glucose. This glucose will be sent up in the blood, and yes, who will be the happy? Brain and RBCs. This glucose will taken up by the brain and it will be taken up by RBC, and they will get enough energy from this glucose because they are completely dependent on glucose. Okay, now the concern we should be about is acetyl-CoA. We know that so this is a post-absorptive state, it will go in this way. So you should remember that when pyruvate is formed, pyruvate forms acetyl-CoA through PDH, that is pyruvate dehydrogenase. But acetyl-CoA cannot go back and form pyruvate. You know why? Because PDH is irreversible. You should remember this, it is very important. PDH is irreversible, so this acetyl-CoA cannot go back and form pyruvate. Write it here. The PDH, you should remember two things about PDH, that it is irreversible, that we have seen that it cannot go and form back pyruvate because it is irreversible. Pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme is irreversible. And second thing you should notice that it is irreversible, that means it works only when insulin is present, and this is our glucagon world, so it does not work in this glucagon molecule. So it works only when insulin is present. Okay, you should remember this thing, it is very important. As then what will happen with acetyl-CoA? The acetyl-CoA amount will increase, so the high level of acetyl-CoA will form ketone bodies. Yes, and ketone, it will be given out in the blood, it will be taken up by muscles. Even muscles uses ketone for their own use. And you have to remember that once we found ketone bodies in the blood, so this will be a sign of starvation. Ketone bodies will be formed only when there is a maximum amount of time that our body is not getting glucose molecule. It has used fatty acid, it has used glycogen, gluconeogenesis, it has used glucose in this ways, and now it is using ketone bodies. So this is a sign of starvation, that our body is suffering due to starvation, due to it is not getting enough energy from the glucose molecule. So ketone bodies, now who uses ketone bodies? We have seen muscles uses, our heart muscles too use ketone bodies in starvation process. Then even kidney, I will just draw it, kidney too uses ketone bodies in starvation process. And even our brain, okay, our brain, let me write, our brain too uses ketone bodies. So these are the organs which uses ketone bodies, and you may remember the disease in which we find ketone bodies. Yes, that is diabetes mellitus. In diabetes mellitus, there is no insulin, so you can imagine this is also the same. It is glucagon world, there is no insulin, those people lack insulin, so in lack of insulin they will go under glycogenolysis, gluconeogenesis, they will use fatty acid, and once this all is finished they will go straight up to the ketone bodies. They will use these ketone bodies, and the ketone bodies will be so high in their level, in their blood level, so this patients will undergo diabetic ketoacidosis. That is one of the specific finding which we find in diabetes mellitus. Mainly it is type 1, because the type 1 diabetes, they completely lack insulin. So this is a clinical point which you should remember. So here we end up our video. I hope you understand it, and if you like my video, please subscribe my channel, and see you in my next video. Bye.